Alright, what's going on, Chain Gang? How we doing tonight? We are working on a little keychain. Right, so far it's got, what is it, how long is this? This little 4-inch chain here. And we're going to turn it into a keychain. Because I have a work car, and that work car has a key, and that key needs a keychain. So, if you were around for when I was making the large 30-pound cube, I used a weave called Sandworm to make the rings. And I had some like trashy leftover rings that I wasn't gonna do anything with. I don't know why I held on to them instead of just throwing them away. But they were in a bag, and I've got, I don't know if you can see it. Let's see here. Of the stuff that is like throwaway stuff, I got these 2 bags here. These 3 bags here. This bag. And this is all just kind of the mess that is being cleaned up slowly but surely. So I've got some ideas for some of those. Right now, just gonna make a chain out of some leftover rings. Now all these rings are crappy. The ones I'm about to add are the nice spring steel rings we used for the 30-pound ringception cube. So the inside rings are garbage, the outside rings will be fine. And then we will have ourselves a little keychain. It'll be done before you know it, actually. How's everyone doing tonight? What's going on? Thank you for sharing the stream. Appreciate you. How's everyone's day? I sat in PowerPoint videos all day. Time of my life. Wasn't bad. It's like I'm getting paid for it, so I can't really complain. But also, like, I wish that I had done something more exciting. But it's got to be done. I probably got another week or so of doing Death by PowerPoint. Thank you for the follow. Appreciate you. And then once that's done, I'll just be working with my preceptor. All right, am I going the right way? Let's find out. So, aside from one schedule conflict, everything turned out okay. And got everything done that I needed to get done. Today we learned about how to order supplies for our patients. So we have some supplies in the vehicles, especially if we have like a new admission or something. But most supplies should be delivered to the patient's house. And we learned how to order them today. Just loads of riveting stuff. And then if you were here last night, okay, this is backwards. I was worried I would do that. If you were here last night, I was finishing up some touch-ups on the Finnegan's Wake inlay. And today, while I was in class, I used up all the rings I had. I put them into the inlay. And I will post pictures and videos of everything when it's all done. Not much changed or anything. I'm just waiting on some wall hooks and a spear. I went to go and look to see if the spear I wanted was still available. And of course it wasn't. It wasn't available anywhere. So that sucks. But it is what it is. There we go. That sits nicer. it was in my Amazon cart. It was in my Amazon cart. It was in my Amazon cart for months, and I hadn't had a chance to grab it. Like, okay, I can justify buying a spear when I have extra money, but when I don't have extra money and my AC goes out, I really can't justify buying a spear. You know what I mean? And soon, all the non-book items in my Amazon cart will be purchased. The one is a travel rack for my Road King. What else I got in there? I don't know. Some random stuff. I'm not going to order the books because I've got 3 books right next to me that I haven't read yet that are on my to be read list. One of them is about armor, and I haven't even cracked it, so I need to at least get through those 3 first before I order any more books. But there's probably 5 or 6 other things in my Amazon cart that have been sitting there for a while, and I'm just been putting it off because other more important, fiscally responsible things have needed to be purchased, like a new AC unit. So we're just making a quick little sandworm keychain. To go on the new work car key. I had some leftover rings I needed to use up that were, I don't know, like I mentioned previously, I don't know why I held on to them. I could have just thrown them away. But they make for a good interior chain on this sandworm keychain here. And then I got a couple other items I want to try with some of these rings laying around. Just trying to take what I have and make something out of it. So that it's not sitting in a bag. Especially if it's a ring I have no intention of purchasing again. Like these are 12 gauge half-inch bright aluminum rings. They're lovely, don't get me wrong, but I don't make a lot of stuff out of aluminum. So I'm going to try and make an 8-in-1, a European 8-in-1 chain, and then turn it around on itself. And I don't know if I have enough rings. We will see. I may just end up with a 8-in-1 chain. So today, this was fun. After I was actually just getting done with a class, and I went to go pick up my kid, and my kid gets in the car, and he realized that I hadn't brought his dog with me to pick him up, and he was very distraught, right? I was like, what is going on that you're so upset over me not having brought your dog? I don't usually bring his dog. And he goes, I wanted the dog for parent-teacher conferences. And I look at my calendar, and sure enough, parent-teacher conferences were tonight. And his mom was at home. She hadn't gone with me to pick him up, so it was just me. I was like, oh crap, I better turn around and go get up to his classroom, talk with his teacher real quick. So I don't know who needs to hear it, but parent-teacher conferences should be going on, or have gone on for you. So I'm usually better at keeping track of that kind of stuff. Deadpool Scan, how you doing? Positive vibes, not staying. That's all right. Appreciate you swinging in to say hi. Yeah, usually I keep better track of when his orthodontist appointments are, when his parent-teacher conferences are, or his doctor's appointments and whatnot. But I've been running 2 calendars, the new Outlook calendar from work and the calendar on my phone. Trying to keep up with all that has it's been a bit much, I'm not going to lie. So I completely forgot about parent-teacher conferences, but we got to it and we got it done. So last night I finished up a dice bag. Oh God. And started working on the rings for the Finnegan's Wake inlay. I needed to tweak the top, basically. That's all I needed to do. So got those 2 projects done and out of the way. And now I've got all these bags of rings that I need to use up. I have this project here. These are the black and stainless rings I used on the large 30-pound cube, right? And each of these rings is out of round. And so I have to do this. I have to close it and then adjust it just a tiny little bit so that there's no barb or snag hanging off of it, right? So I don't know why, but they were all cut slightly off. And I don't have many to do, okay? But I think that, you know, I appreciate you guys for hanging out and watching what I'm doing. But I think if I started doing this for my stream, y'all would get bored really fast. So instead, I will make a chain and then make another chain. And as long as I'm weaving, I feel okay. Like streaming, but I'm not going to sit there and re-round a bunch of rings on camera. Like, that just seems like a waste of everyone's time. I will do it off camera, and it's like a day's worth of work. So I'll get it done, and then when it's done, I'll make it into something. Or, since these are the new rings, right, I might just leave them there and put them into storage. So, and what I mean by new rings is, well, I'll show you. These are 18 gauge 3/16, right? These are the new rings. These are also 18 gauge 3/16. These are the old rings, and they're slightly larger than these rings in the bin here, right? And the reason for that is because the ring lord decided to true up their ring sizes so that a ring with a 1/4 inch inner diameter was as close to a true 1/4 inch as they could get, right? Which, good on them for improving their product. Okay? I have a lot of old stuff laying around that I'm trying to work through. You know, come up with ideas on how to make stuff and whatnot. And I can't order new rings in the same size because the sizes don't match. So since these are new, I might just re-round all of these and put them into a storage container until I have need of more black and stainless rings in that ring size at some point. Have you ever done welded or riveted mail? I have not. I have plans to add those to what I'm able to do in my basement. I mean, I have done some welded, but very, very limited. I do have a little sparkle welder over here to weld rings with, but how are you doing, Mr. Schnoo? You see the Tupperware? You ended up using gelato containers for your rings? Nice. Yeah, you know, I got like Ziploc bags and Hillshire Farms containers. Whatever works. There is a creator on TikTok named Wayward and Whimsical, and she has multiple drawer shelves, multiple shelves filled with drawers, and each drawer has a different ring size and color, and she's got them all coordinated and labeled. And one day I will have a setup like her. One day. But for now, it's Ziploc bags and whatever container I can find. Your husband bought a ton of gelato because it was on sale. Can we save those? Yeah. It's like pickle jars in our house. So if you look under our cabinet, there's probably 4 or 5 pickle jars down there. I don't know what they get used for, but, you know, sometimes there's less and sometimes there's more. All right, 1 keychain done. I'm just making this for the key fob for my new work car. Using up some rings I have on hand and some newer rings. I made a nice little keychain. I'll have to bring the key fob down here and figure out a way to connect it. It's like I've got, besides the Hillshire Farms Go Meat container, right here, I've got Nestle Coffee Mates coffee creamer container, right? Ziploc baggies, more coffee containers full of rings, right? You generally just use an old rolly kit to keep what you're currently using separated. Nice. Am I making sandworm? Yes, Mech, I am. How are you tonight? Good to see you. Making a little sandworm keychain for my key fob for my new work car. It's like I had some leftover rings in this ring size, and I was like, I need a keychain. Let's just make one real quick and then use up these rings, and that'll be it. Voila, it is done. So, something to add to, you know what? Actually, I wonder something. Hang on. That's a good looking weave for a keychain. Yeah, I think so. So, the bag of random rings, beads that I have, I couldn't find it last night. Right? But I found it today. So, let's go. Let's see here. Not those. Not those. See if we have something in here that we can add. Got a lot of little skull things. Plans for those. I don't want to break that up. Going the wrong way. Well, oh hey. I have another keychain with one of these on it. Little skull bead. So we'll affix it to this keychain here. What do I need? How many rings can I can definitely fit 2. All right, where are we at? You have a cheapo pill container from Deza that you put rings into while you're working. It's curved, so it's nice to pull the rings. Nice. That sounds like a nice little setup there. Now, will this fit? Kind of. I like how that looks. Does it need a random ring of black Byzantine to hold everything in place? Yeah, probably. I've got some like 12 gauge half-inch stainless steel rings in regular stainless and black and stainless. Oh, wow, wow. That got away from me. Be careful when you're weaving. You can really screw yourself up. There we go. All right. How's that look? Little bead hanging off the end. Can't hardly... A bead doesn't want to lie flat. That's okay. This is just for work. I'm going to call that done. Actually, no. Can I fit one more ring through there? All right. You're sticking to aluminum for now? Can't say that I blame you. This wants to fit. Not really. I'm just saying that because I want it to fit. Damn. Okay, well, screw that. And then I'm going to throw 3 rings at the top just to kind of finish it off. And then once I get upstairs, I will try to remember to bring my pliers and attach this to the key fob. That looks awesome, thanks. You should really list things you want to make so it's easier to start. Keep track of what you want to make. I've got folders on my phone full of ideas of stuff that other people have made, right? And it's like, I want to give that a try. Put my own little spin on it there. Okay, so that is done. Up next, I've got this 12 gauge half-inch aluminum. Let's see what we can do with it. I have never made European 8-in-1. It's not actually a historical weave that I'm aware of. So European 4-in-1 is when 4 rings go through every other ring, right? European 6-in-1 is when 6 rings go through every other ring. And European 8-in-1 would be when 8 rings go through every other ring. So, hey, what do you think of the colors black, red, and purple together? It can be done. You have a Pinterest board, but you don't think of it often? Yeah. Yeah, I got in the habit of writing stuff down because I would not remember half the things I wanted to do. You know what I mean? So black, red, and purple, like if you combine the red and the purple and you shade with the black in whatever you're making. I'm a terrible person to ask about color just because I'm so bad with it. Like, really bad. Egregiously bad. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. But I think that if you use the red and purple as highlights and then shade with the black, that's probably how I would try and do it. Okay, so I don't know if this ring size is good for European 8-in-1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, I need one more ring. Hang on. But we're going to find out. And then I want to make like a round mail chain. Let's see if I can do that. Ooh, this might work. Okay. Am I work? No, this is these are bright aluminum. This is steel. This piece I made here, this keychain, right? That's all steel. These 12 gauge half-inch rings are just bright aluminum. Okay, so let's see if this works. This might not work. We'll okay. That one seemed to go in fairly easily. And I don't have any use for these rings. I ordered them and they're just taking up space at this point. So I'm trying to do a little bit of housekeeping between now and when I start my next project, which hopefully will be this weekend. Maybe early next week. I want to get some of this done and out of the way. Okay. I'm not content to say that this is working yet. Also, I did not get my pretzel rock working. I still don't have more than like 6 songs on each channel. What am I doing here? That's not correct. Is that what oh, that's what I did on the last one too. That's bad. That's not how this goes. No, 1, 2. So I don't know what's going on with Pretzel Rock. I gotta email somebody and figure out what's what, because like all the music that I usually was able to play is gone, and it's weird. Okay. So that is European 8-in-1. Let's keep going. All right. Thank you for sharing the stream. Appreciate you. Wow, that's a tight weave. Yeah. We're going to see if it gets too tight here. And I didn't look up the aspect ratio of what ring size you need for European 8-in-1. It's like, oh, I have these rings. I'll try this weave with it. And if I have enough rings here, I'll try and make something out of it. I would like to make a little ring. That is, let's see here. You can't really tell. That it's working. Well, kind of. It's kind of working. It might not weave into a round mail style chain. So we might have to figure out something else. But we're just going to keep going for now. So I know that on the Mail Artisans International League website, you can probably look up what aspect ratio is needed for European 8-in-1 to be like tight, loose, you know. This is like the minimum aspect ratio for this. Zombie Stripper, how you doing? We're making a mess. We're trying to clean stuff up and we're making a mess. Okay. Now, can I add another row? You're doing all right? I'm doing okay. Can't complain. So I got my work done today. I need to write down all my hours. I have to submit my... I don't know how to submit my hours on the tablet. I'm still got to learn that. So I have to email them all to my boss on Friday, which is what I did last Friday. And then I should get paid this week too, so. That'll be nice. Okay, I think if I had like an unlimited amount of rings to work with, we might get away with turning this into something. But I don't think that it's going to tolerate any bending with the limited number of rings I have right now. So if we made it really big, there'd be enough flex, right? But there's not a lot of flex in this. You're going to say that I think you could see it a lot better if it was 5 wide instead of 3? Yeah, I'm getting there. I'm getting there. Maybe I'll just make a big patch of European 8-in-1. And that's what it'll be. I don't have a use for these rings, really. One, because they're huge and it's like... I don't know any rings that require this aspect ratio. Or I don't know any weaves that require this big of a ring. That's how I should phrase it. But yeah. Oh. We'll just weave them together and make a big patch, and then when another project eventually comes around, I don't know, I'll just make it something to look at and put it on the windowsill. What gauge are these? These are 12 gauge. I don't remember if they're standard wire gauge or American wire gauge, but they're from chain-reaction.ca. And I know their 18 gauge rings are standard wire gauge. Oh, come on. Adding some like trim rings here to keep the edges from flopping around. All right. Oh, nope. Screwed that up. All right, I have now made a new weave. I've never made European 8-in-1 before. So this is like a brick. It's like really tight. Yeah. Love when the pliers slip. So, aside from almost missing the parent-teacher conference today, I did have to go to Hobby Lobby to grab some Velcro and some stuffing for a costume my wife is working on. So my kid gets in the car, and I'm of the mindset that I'm going to the craft store, and he starts getting all upset about his dog not being there, and having a mental breakdown over that. And meanwhile, I don't know what's going on. And he's like, oh, I wanted my dog to be at the parent-teacher conferences, blah, blah, blah. I was like, oh yeah, oh, those are tonight. Oh. So I had to turn around and go to parent-teacher conferences and then go to Hobby Lobby. So I didn't get home until later. Got my kid to start reading Miss Frisbee and the Rats of Nim. I think it's an essential childhood reading. It's like, he's old enough for Hatchet and the Foxman and other Gary Paulson books, but he doesn't care for them because it's like forced reading that these kids have to do. They got to read 20 books a year. That's what the school wants, and I'm very much not in favor of it. And I was talking to his teacher about it, and she's not the biggest fan either. So Lil Sassy, how you doing? You have the movie, you love it? Nice. Hatchet, it's a good book. I think Hatchet and My Side of the Mountain, My Side of the Mountain are like part of your essential books you read as a kid, you know? Like everyone I knew reading them, everyone I knew growing up read them. But because my kid had to read it, he didn't care for it. That's been pretty much all the books that... It's like he has to sit down and read the book and then take a quiz on it. And I'm just like, ugh, that's so gross. You know? I lost my desire to... I used to be a avid reader back in the day when I was my son's age. Partially because it was all there was to do in rural Idaho. And also because I enjoyed reading. So... what is going on here? Okay. This is my Brick O European 8-in-1. It's solid, man. It's something. I'm not going to be able to turn it around on itself unless I like make a really long piece. The mountain truly is all good. I read My Side of the Mountain. I think I have The Far Side of the Mountain. Is that what it's called? And then, like, I guess his little sister has a book too or something. You were cranking ninties on Minecraft and finding what game to play. What is a ninty? Do I want to ask? How you doing, Jane Q Public? All right, let me... Trying to think if I should... which direction to go with this, because I can continue to lengthen this and broaden it, right? I can just make a big square. Right? Or I can put it on a bias, and so it's not like it won't have these floppy edge rings. Everything will be tucked away neatly. Right? Let me get okay. This is where the bias is connected together, right? So you see how the rings come down towards each other and connect in the center, right? That's two strips of European 4-in-1 on the bias connected in the middle. That's what it means when I say on the bias. '90s. You're cranking 90s on Minecraft, finding what... Okay. Ninties. That's funny. So, okay, so My Side of the Mountain, The Other Side of the Mountain, Frightful's Mountain. I read My Side of the Mountain. I have, I think, The Other Side of the Mountain. I never read... Excuse me. I never read Frightful's Mountain. I don't think. So as anything's possible that I did read it and just don't remember. So. Come on. Excuse me. Those rings look like they'd make a good forearm section of a gauntlet. If they were slightly looser, I'd agree. Right? Or if I had just done like European 6-in-1 or something. Maybe that's what I'm doing wrong. Let's see here. Instead of 8, just try 6 and see how... See if we can make a... I think these are probably too loose for European 6-in-1. for what I want to do with it. Maybe not. I don't know. We'll find out. He's older than that one. He might have a daughter. I can't exactly remember. You read it 20 years ago. That sounds about right. And growing up in rural Idaho, we were all about living off the land and identifying plants and, you know, knowing how to do all that stuff and prepping and hunting, and that's like, it was a cool subject to be interested in when I was growing up, but yeah, no. Like I was talking about previously on this stream, some people feel like they're born in the wrong period and they want to go back to the medieval ages. And I do not. I have no desire to do that whatsoever. Hey, one time you had a paper that said, what would you do if you get money? I said I would give it to McDonald's to fix their ice cream machine. How charitable of you. Someone needs to do it. Yeah, I went... Last time I tried to order anything ice cream related for McDonald's, my son wanted to try the Grimace Shake. And it was only available for a limited time. And I went to go get him one. I didn't think I had waited all that long. But, yeah. They were done with them by the time I got there. I don't know if they ever honestly had them available. I think they just... It's always McBroken. That's right. I don't think my McDonald's ever had them available. They just told people that they were sold out. I don't know. This is, the European 6-in-1 is much more flexible. This is, like, you see how this doesn't, like, move? It's a, normally chainmail doesn't do this. And I'm very interested in structural chainmail, right? Like, if I had enough rings, I would play around with this some more, because there is a little bit of flex in it. And if you make it long enough, that flex is going to get bigger, and then... But I don't have enough rings for that, so we're going to try and see if I can make a little decorative European 6-in-1 ring out of this ring size for fun. It's not broken, they just don't want to clean it. Assassination at the gas station. You're a wordsmith, Harry. I think it's what I see the other day. Right? There's like silversmiths and goldsmiths and blacksmiths, right? Those are traditionally jobs that have existed for a long time. It was, I don't remember what media it was in, but it wasn't pottery, but it was something like ceramic smith or something. Like they had just tacked on the word smith to the end of whatever their craft was, right? And it was really cringy. I was embarrassed for them. I was like, what is this? No. 3D printer smith. I'm a ecosystem in a bottle smith, right? I'll have to think about what it was. I was like, why would you tack on the word smith? Oh, you want like kudos for whatever. If you were talking about the ice cream machine, then we also don't order ice in our drinks. Because the ice machine's out? Wait. Hang on. What's going on here? They don't want to clean the ice cream machine. Yeah. We also don't order... You don't order ice? You're a random smith. There you go. I'm a jack of all trades smith. Excuse me. That needs to go here. I'm gonna write that down actually. Very good. That's my work hours. Where's my writing down sheet? I'll just write it on here. We'll make a t-shirt and it'll say Jack of all tradesmiths, and we'll get the movie preview guy to do a commercial, and it'll be like, in a world where everyone was raised on video games, no one taught anyone how to do anything. Everyone learned how to build a house off of YouTube. Welcome to Jack of all tradesmith. Do you ever get bored of the repetitive tasks? Yes. So, this is 18,000 plus rings, right? And getting cubes this large is a grind. And you just have to grind through it. So, I mind making large projects like this just because they take so long. When I'm dinking around and making different things, it's not as bad. But you're back from New Orleans. Superhero landing, that's right. In a world where you didn't have any money and you had to learn how to fix everything yourself, you step into some gooey ooze, and next thing you know, a screwdriver is in one hand, and a hammer is your other hand, and you are Jack of all tradesmiths. Papa. Ah. Ooh, the fun of putting rings together. Wicked Knight, how are you tonight? Yep, we're weaving some rings. I'm largely just screwing around trying to get this to do something it probably doesn't want to do. You know what I could do? That won't take as many rings, though. I'm trying to use up all the rings in, like, one project, or most of them. Right? Excuse me. Oh, I got the sides on your scale mail shirt, but didn't get the shoulders on. Right on. Very cool, very cool. You'll have to post some pictures somewhere. What's a word that starts with E and ends with X and has a volleyball? You got me. You got done with your chain mailing stream? Very interesting. What do you make with chainmail? Okay, what's a word? What's a word that starts with E, ends with X, has a volleyball? Vowel? Luckily, a vendor at the gathering was able to put leather straps on it so you could wear it. Oh, okay, right on. Very cool, very cool. Leather straps are more comfortable. There's something, any shirt I make for a female moving forward, if they just have straps at the top, it's getting a leather underneath for padding. I've made one shirt for a friend of mine. And okay, so I'm making this, and then we're going here. I'm wondering, is that going to be rigid at all? I'm going to go with probably not, which is why I went with the 8-in-1. I wonder if Oops would work. Do you guys know what Oops is? Oops is a pattern. I've never done it. And it's when you make a mistake when you're weaving European 4-in-1 and you miss a ring. So I don't know if one ring has 3 rings going through it and the next one has 5, and it's just a 5-3 5-3 pattern kind of layout. I've never made it, but I'm wondering if that would be better for this ring size to make something rigid, because this is not European 6-in-1 is great, but these rings are too big too loose for what I want to do. So planning out your group's flag, trying to figure out the pattern for it. Nice. Yeah, do as much prep work as you can on inlays. I just finished up one recently that took me like 19 years because I decided to freehand it because I thought that I was the bee's knees. Turns out I was not. My node. All right. Viperiberus. This will probably work for that. It's probably too big though. And that wouldn't be like rigid at all. Oh, you know what? G5, you don't know. What am I making that needs rigidness? I'm making something out of this ring size. And the 8-in-1 is too tight. It has no flex. The 6-in-1 is too loose. But I'm not making any particular thing, right? Let me see something. International League H8M. No, not Japanese 8-in-1. I have it like saved on my phone. I don't. Maybe it's M8. Let me try the M8. M8. No. King's Mail. There we go. Hang on. That's not what I was looking for, but that might work. All right, where am I at here? There I am. Full Persian 6-in-1. Bye-bye. Good night. Have a slight fright and happy Halloween. All right, Jane Q Public. Have a good one. Would the 8-in-1 work for a vest or jacket? No, there's no flex to it. Right? I don't have enough rings for that. I'm just trying to make something decorative. What about Hoodoo Hex? Yeah, you can do that, but you have to know how to make Hoodoo Hex before you do that. And that is one of those that I've never had the right ring sizes to try. You could do it with this, though. I don't want to get too complicated trying to learn a new weave on stream. I don't know. What do you guys think? It's 9:03. We got about an hour before I wrap up here. What if... Hang on. I don't think these... come on. I don't think these 1-inch ball bearings are... Like, I couldn't wrap them in... If I made hoodoo hacks and tried to wrap one of these 1-inch ball bearings, it wouldn't work, right? But... I don't know. Let's see here. That doesn't want to go. It's too tight. But if we do this, let's see here. I don't have anything special planned for these ball bearings, so... Let's see if this works. This is ridiculous. Alright, where are we at here? You can make like a patch or diamond with it to use as a background of something else. Yeah. I mean, there's a ton of stuff you could do, and there's no wrong ideas, right? I'm just literally screwing around trying to figure out a way to use most of these rings, you know what I mean? In a project. Come on. Is that... What did I miss here? Something's wonky. Like, what'd you do last night? Oh, you know, nothing, not much. Okay, that's that. What happened here? It goes through 3 rings on each side. Why is it just like curved to one side? I guess that's it. It's not laying flat because the ball is curved. So I wonder. Huh. Okay. I'm sorry for your complicated suggestion. No, it's fine. Had an image pop in your mind, like a crest made of them, like a medal to be pinned or hanged on the chest or from a belt, like a sigil thing. Is that what we're? That's going to be too tight. Now I need a bigger ring than 1/2 inch. Why doesn't that work? What if I just did 6? What if I just did every other one? All right, so who's dressing up for Halloween? The only person dressing up in this house is my kid. I can't remember the last time I went to a Halloween party or anything as an adult. Oh, don't do that. Wonder. That's very interesting. Okay, so I did 6 rings. Did every other ring. And it's too tight. There is a captured little ball bearing in there, right? And it doesn't go around quite far enough. It's so close. All right, well, we got one thing done. That's kind of cool. We can just leave it like that. That's something. It's not the worst thing I've ever made. I kind of guess like something from or for a dwarf. Yeah, you mean like just like a piece of decorative chainmail, just, you know. It doesn't necessarily symbolize anything. It's just, it's like a keychain kind of deal, right? You'll be dressing up to work at a haunted house, right on. Mech's dressing up, handing out candy. Everyone always likes your house, and it's super simple. It is kind of neat. And if that captured ball bearing was just a little bit smaller, right? You see these 6 rings that are predominant on this side, right? It's European 6-in-1, so there should be 12 rings here, right? But there's 6 rings going through it down here. And that pulled it pulled 6 rings to the other side, so he looks like a flower. If I had a slightly larger ring size, I would put it through here and try and get this to like line up nicely. I don't know. That's kind of random. But it used up some of these rings, right? We'll throw that up on the windowsill and call it intentional. That's what we'll do. We'll call it intentional. All right, what else? What other weave? There's one. I don't want to try and pull it up on my phone because I don't want to lose you guys. Let's call this a win. And we'll place these all back in the bag, and maybe after I get a chance to look up what this weave is that is in the back of my head, then I can try and make something. So these are some trash rings left over from God knows where. I can use my regular pliers for these, I think. Oh, it's much more comfortable. Okay, so I ordered these to make a JPL necklace. They are not the correct size. They slip past each other. They're just a hair too large. Right? So, like, here's the chain, the JPL chain I was working on. And there's a lot of, like, areas where it was woven correctly, like right in there, right in here. And then the rings slipped past each other, and I got so far along and I was realizing what was going on. I was like, oh, well, that's not good. So I've got these as another project to make something with. So we're just gonna throw them into a cube. Maybe we might have to double up the edges a little bit, but should work mostly. I don't know what else to do with these, right? Yeah, we got 45 minutes. We can get some of this put together. And I know I'm tired of cubes. I'm sure everyone watching is tired of cubes. Just because we do so many of them, but a lot of my project, or a lot of my leftover ring projects have turned into cubes because, well, it's an easy thing instead of trying to figure out some other BS to make with them. I don't know, call it lack of imagination. A cube made out of square circles, yep. It's like I have one already. It's a decent size. But it's just to use them up and get them out of the way. Like, the cuts on these are crappy. I don't like them. And I should just throw all the rings away. Right? But I've held on to them for this long, and it's like, all right, just do something with them, you know? Make a cube, make it as big as you can go, and then throw away the remainder. Don't do what? Don't throw them away? They're garbage. I should have returned them. I'm such a pushover, right? Like, when I get crap, I'm just like, oh, I'll figure out something for it. I should stop being that way. You know what I mean, Vern? It's like, my time is much more important than sitting here trying to figure out what to do with rings I can't use. Right? It's not really, but I think that in my head. I'd rather be working on one of my large projects right now than this. But, you know, I like to be thorough in cleaning up this giant mess that I have laying around. That actually might be... hate to be wasteful. That's what it is. It's like, I can make it into something, even if it takes up too much of my time and energy and resources. It's going to be a very loose cube. Since it won't make, since this ring size won't work for JPL, I'm assuming that it's not really appropriate for a cube, but it's like close, and then I can double up the edges, and I don't know, we'll see. Maybe it'll make a really nice cube and I'm completely wrong. So, what else have I got laying around? I got some black and stainless I need to make something out of. I don't know. And then some much smaller rings that I have almost enough to make something nice out of them. Excuse me. Anyway. Okay. Making sure I'm doing this right. All right, where are we at? Mac, what is it that you didn't want me to do? Don't do what? Getting these cubes started, it's always a little sketchy. Like starting half Persian 3-in-1 or 4-in-1. I never know if I'm doing it right, so I just keep weaving until I figure out whether or not I'm doing it correctly or not. Doesn't take long, but people ask all the time, how do you start these weaves? It's so hard. And I'm like, I don't know. I've been doing it for 28 years. I have a vague idea. I couldn't iterate to you what that process is, but I can successfully make it, that's for sure. All right. Yeah, let's see here. Let's talk about weaves I've never made, right? Moorish Rose. Tried to make that on stream once. Did not work. Right? Hoodoo Hex. I've never made Hoodoo Hex or Viper Scale or Arkham or... what else out there? I don't know. And part of the reason for that is... I enjoyed learning the weaves that I know now, and there's, I don't know, there's probably 1,000 different chainmail weaves out there. I know a few. Some of them are very obscure, right? So when I realized how big this, well, when I started making chainmail seriously, I learned a few more weaves, but I had designs, I had projects that I wanted to make, and I set out to make them. And since then, I have made a giant mess of things, and I'm cleaning that up right now. So, it's like I didn't have time, and I have not had time to learn new weaves as they've come about, because, I don't know, new weaves are made fairly often. I've never made one, but I have finished a bunch of projects, so like I'm okay with that. I'd rather get these projects done than make a new weave or design a new weave after myself. Isn't there one named like 72 hours without sleep or something? Yes. It's like 36 hours less sleep, I think it is. Tau 3-in-1, not Tau 3-in-1. I learned one of those, and I never really used it on anything. It was kind of cool, but I couldn't figure out an application for it, so I never went any further. Which, okay, so that is the reality with a lot of rings, right? That, or with a lot of weaves, rather. Right? Someone will design them, but like they're not suitable for a necklace or for a bracelet or for earrings or something. And so the community doesn't take off with the weave and make a bunch of different stuff out of it and experiment with it, which is really where you find the characteristics of a weave, is when a bunch of different people are working on it. So if you go to Male Artisans International League, you will see a bunch of weaves in their weave library. Many of them you will recognize, and many of them you'll be like, I've never heard of this weave called airplane before. What is this? Right? Yeah, definitely going to have to double up the edges on this one, but that's fine. Make a little cube. The rings are pretty trash, so I'm not going to do anything else with them, just because, like, it would be trash. Basically. Oh, come on. So that's a start. Kind of. It looks like a hodgepodge of rings, but there is a pattern here, right? And it's not going to get any tighter until the edges are doubled up. So we'll make what we can, and try to make something out of it. The names of chainmail weaves are largely meaningless, right? So you'll see a bunch of weaves with weird names and a bunch of unexplored weaves out there. And I don't think that the number of weaves out there is infinite. I could be wrong, right? Because every variable about the ring size, right? The wire diameter and the inner diameter, as long as those change, you can get a bunch of different weaves, and you can make a bunch of different weaves in different ring sizes, right? So I don't think that the number of weaves out there known to mankind is complete. There's a lot of room for growth in that area for the chainmail community. But my brain doesn't work that way. I don't think I'll ever come up with a weave. You know, it'd be cool too, but it's like there are people who they focus on designing weaves, and they've come up with a few, and they're really good at it. And it's one of those areas that I don't have any skill in that area, you know what I mean? Oh, hey, these two rings should be connected. Yep. So I mean by it's a hodgepodge of rings. You can't really tell what's going on. But there is a pattern, and I don't know if you can... let's see here. If I hold that up like that, nah, you can't really see a pattern. But it's there, I promise. It's like, I would like to design a nice spirally chain. If I was going to make a design. Oh, and back to the whole concept of are chainmail weaves infinite, right? So, like, I don't know, there might be a number cap on it, but think of it like this. Every inner diameter and every wire diameter change the properties of the ring that make it so that you can weave different things, right? And then when you start adding 2, 3, and 4 different ring sizes into a weave, right? You know, the weaves you could make, the number of weaves you can make with that get really big. Does that make sense to anyone else but me? What's a better way to explain it? It's like physically, you know, what you can hand make on your desk in your basement is limited, like, by the size of the wire. And like, if I had 1/2 inch wire in here, I'm not going to be bending it with my hands, right? That's way too big. So you are, like, it is limited by size and how small you can go, right? How small you can see and how small you can make a wire, right? That's also limited by mankind's capabilities, right? So Yes, you can use the same weave countless times and they all turn out different with each size. Yeah. So, discounting the fact that there are physical limitations on what you can work with, right? If you can get infinitesimally larger wire to make your rings and infinitesimally larger wire diameters, right? Then, you know, you're just going to have bigger and bigger and, you know, a larger number of weaves that you can make. If you have a ring whose inner diameter is the circumference of Jupiter, you know, all right, I'm wondering how many rings we have on hand. We might be able to go to four layers on this. We might not. Might have to just, I don't know. I'll figure it out. Uh, 20, 48, and 1. That's right. What was I going to figure out? Oh, hang on. Let's see here. Where is my favorite one up here? 4, 384. That's 92. That's probably... All right, we might... I might have to count these out before I go much farther to make sure I have that many. So in this 3x3x3 cube, I should have 95 rings. So that means that I need 283 rings left. I don't know if I have. I don't think I have that much. What if I made 2 3x3 cubes? I bet I have enough for that, and then doubled up the edges on 2 little cubes just to get rid of these rings. Alright, tonight's progress. Keychain, very nice. Going on my work car keychain. Or going on my work car key fob. Right? Very lovely, very nice. One wrapped 1-inch stainless steel ball bearing. Kind of funky how that happened. We'll set it with our glass marble capture, right? So it'll just exist over here. And we found out that you can make 8-in-1 using 12 gauge 1/2-inch rings. So that's something. It's really tight. So for an hour and a half of screwing around, that's not bad. You'll have to use your adamantium though, otherwise it'll pull itself apart. right. Yeah, in the theoretical world where there are where there is an infinite number of ring sizes and wire gauges, right? And you can combine any ring size and wire gauge to make a weave. Then the number of weaves that you can make with rings is, I mean, in theory, right, infinite. Now, what is practical? Right? You're limited to a decent size number of ring sizes available. So that's nice. Much more than ever before in the history of mankind. With more materials available to you than at any point in history. What if you could actually bend adamantium to make chainmail? So that's one of those, like, can the Hulk beat Superman kind of questions. Like, is there an answer? I don't know. I'm not enough of a comic book character knower. I'm not familiar enough with comic books to be able to answer that question and the information surrounding them. Like, if you heat anything up, if you heat most metals up, they get they get flexier. Metals get flexier when you heat them up. That's funny. Whoa. So, I don't know what the temperature... I don't know what temperature is required to make adamantium bendable, malleable. I'm sure someone somewhere knows. But I had a Rescue Rangers comic book and like a Donald Duck comic book growing up. That was about it. It's one of those things I missed. I had to have a friend explain to me what the Infinity Stones were. Right? Because I had no idea. Okay, this is a 3x3 cube, and if you don't see a pattern, that's because it's very sloppy, right? So I'll double up the edges, and then it'll make more sense. But before I do that, I'm going to 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 45, 36, 39, 42, 45, 48, 51, 54, 60, 2, 3, 60, 66, roughly 72. Okay. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 18, 19, 20, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 29, 40, 45, 50. I've not even gotten through. So 75 plus 50 is 120, or 72 plus 50 is 122. And there's no way I have 384 more rings in here, right? But we've got another cube over here, another 3x3, and then we can just Make 2 little 3x3 cubes, and we'll double up. Double up all the corners and everything, and see if we can't make this more cube-like. So